3, 2, 1.
And I think we're live.
Yeah, I think we're live.
Dude, my phones.
There's one there. There's one on top of the camera. We do have one in. Let me open it up and see if anybody can.
I don't think we are live.
Let me go double check
That's the problem.
You're moving on the screen over here. It says end broadcast.
Oh, okay. So I guess
It says live, 0 views.
But it says Sparksoft. Okay. Well, anyway, hi, I'm Christine Gritmon. We're here with Social, the show on social media that I do every Friday at noon. And this week I'm here with the nerdy duo, Erin and Melissa. And they're going to talk to us about how to make your online videos not suck.
I'm going to see if I can pull up the actual broadcast.
And ironically, this one is kind of sucking so far.
Yeah, I'm.
Sorry, guys, but Erin, talk to us.
So, well, first thing you can try and do to make your online videos not suck is, a newer, better camera, and that's what we're trying today, and that's why we have a watermark on our video, because we're trying to use a DSLR to live stream.
Which shows you that a newer, better camera is absolutely no competition for the number one thing that will make all of your videos better: planning. We didn't do that so hot today.
Planning.
All right, so in terms of setting up a DSLR with Facebook Live, that's kind of tricky. Facebook doesn't make it very easy. There are tools in the Facebook for Developers element of Facebook, which is very tricky to use if you're not a developer. And we tried to plug it in today to Be Live, which is what I've been using lately for these videos. But it appears to be sort of bypassing. Now, what is this? What is Sparksoft?
So Sparksoft is something that gamers use to plug their DSLRs into their laptops or desktops with USB. Instead of buying an expensive capture card that, you plug your HDMI or whatever into your laptop, this just runs off the USB of your camera. And there are other things like this. The Sony cameras, you can connect via Wi-Fi, and we would have done that today if we didn't need the Wi-Fi to broadcast to you.
So in terms of hooking it up through the Wi-Fi, though, it's still not as direct as that, though. So how does one set something up like that for how to get a real camera to do your broadcast as opposed to your phone or your webcam?
So you always need an intermediate. It either being software that takes the video from your camera via USB, or a capture box that takes the signal that would normally go into your television and then captures that and uploads it to the internet.
And you can get into different levels of that. Like, you could use a simple capture box, or you could go like full black magic A10 switcher and have
Tens of
10
thousands.
cameras, spend tens of thousands of dollars, and you need someone to run it full time.
Yeah, the reason things are a little scrappy today is because we were going to do a 2-camera setup, but it wound up being kind of complicated in terms of how to run it.
And have both of us be up here.
Yeah.
That was not going to happen.
There's a mannequin behind us, but unfortunately it is not magical. I haven't tried kissing it, but it looks a little scary, and I don't want to take that risk.
There's a normal face under that.
You don't want that mannequin coming alive.
No.
That will not be an 80s ROM.
No.
All right, her one leg's not on right.
Oh, well, that means that I could outrun it. So, if you're someone who doesn't have a black magic box, you don't have a multi-camera setup, you don't have any of this, you're just me. How can people, just on a very basic level with the tools at their disposal, make their videos better? What are some really common pitfalls?
So, like I said, this comes down to a handful of things. The first thing is always planning. If you know where your video is going to go, like there's a whole huge argument in video about 16 by 9 versus that long perspective, which holds a human body awesome, but is not great for cinematic views.
And that's why, since the invention of video cameras, girls have done their fashion poses sideways.
It holds the human body perfectly. Like, for green screening, we turn it sideways all the time because I can have more pixels of the person, and since I'm getting rid of the rest of the frame, nobody notices. So, know where your video is going to go. Because if you're going on YouTube, if you're going on Vimeo, even if you're going on Facebook, you're better off filming that long way, 16 by 9, But if you're going on Periscope, if you're going on Instagram, it's okay to turn it this way, and that works better for those interfaces.
Because people will only be viewing those on a mobile phone, which people normally hold like this. as opposed to something like my videos. My videos, first of all, originate on Facebook, obviously, but then I upload them to YouTube after the fact, which I've been a little behind on lately, but I will. I upload them to my blog. I upload them sometimes to other sites. So for multiple uses, if it's going multiple places, stick with landscape. If it's going someplace that's really going to be mobile-only views, portrait is fine.
Yep. Anything people can send to their TVs, you want to be landscape. So, like, I Chromecast your videos to my TV all the time.
Oh, nice.
It's a good way to watch the midweek minute.
Yeah. Oh, that's good to know.
So
what else?
Besides that, once you know where your video is going and you know your end game, then you can start addressing things like, who am I shooting this with? Where am I shooting this? Oh God, do we have internet to live stream this? Things like that. So that's the first thing, is planning, know who, what, when, where, and why.
And I've noticed that the strong internet is especially an issue with live streaming, because I've had several live streams. Those of you who have watched social know some of them look terrible. And the reason is largely because of strong internet service, a strong Wi-Fi signal.
Strong internet and strong computers are very important, because if you've got a wonderful quality camera and you can't compress that data down to a small package to upload, it's just going to turn into garbage.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the stuff, the better your camera is, the more bandwidth it needs to send that fat, juicy image out. Mm-hmm. So like, a lot of your live streams that you're frustrated with in particular are ones where you've hooked your Sony cam up and you're like, this is a beautiful image, what happened?
Exactly.
Well,
last week I had a great camera, I had great lighting, I had a great microphone. I was like, this is going to be the best video I've done, and then it's all pixelated.
So yeah, having your internet taken care of is part of planning, doing tests is part of planning.
Making sure your computer can upload and encode that video in the correct quality.
And how do you make sure of that?
So depending on what you're using, there are settings in your upload and streaming software that will say, how many bits and what the resolution is and how much color. And if your camera has, way more than it can use uploading and streaming. But if your computer's not fast enough, if it doesn't have a fast enough video card, it can't compress all that wonderful data into a package small enough to upload. And if you tune your settings down a little, maybe make your video a little smaller, not stream at 4K or 1080 or, whatever your new wonderful camera can do. But, shrink it down, use a little more color, use a little less bandwidth. It will end up looking better overall.
Now, are these options, I know that BeLive has this option for how to stream it, and I think on my test one I chose the highest one, and I noticed it looked grainy, so I made sure to broadcast, first of all, closer to my modem, but also at a lower rate, and it still looked bad. So I need to just play with that camera, play with the Wi-Fi. But in terms of Facebook, do people have those options if they're just straight up going through Facebook Live with their webcam?
If you're going through Facebook Live, you have whatever the options are with the built-in camera. So you have whatever your phone camera options are, whatever your laptop camera options are. All of the options on my laptop camera are horrible.
I feel like people don't go into these options.
Oh my God, you really get better at these things that you really improve is by trying different things. And like, the only way I learned to use Adobe, I sat down and took a class, and it's all very, theoretical and da-da-da-da. None of that matters. Go touch stuff.
Play with it.
Just try, do tests. Be like, okay, this is a camera test, and I'm trying this top setting, and I have, this time I plugged a hard wire from my laptop to my router, so that can't get disconnected no matter what, and we're going to get this full wired bandwidth.
That's a really good idea that I really should have thought of last week, because I was right next to it. I was from my home office last week, and I could have.
Try it. Plug in.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, plug your wires in for internet when you're doing high bandwidth stuff.
That's a really good thing to know.
There's a saying, especially for audio, it's a $600 wireless thing to sound as good as a $5 wire.
Almost as good.
Almost as good.
Yeah.
Moving on though from planning, because testing is definitely part of planning, and that's why pre-production is a phase unto itself.
And not everyone can be a planner. Sometimes you just have to do it spontaneously.
And
I
if
did
you
my
can't
midweek
plan-
edit spontaneously from the Yonkers waterfront on Wednesday, and I just whipped out my phone, but it looked great. And you know what? Now that you're mentioning the settings, I had already changed the settings on my phone camera to be higher resolution. It's taking up a lot more space on my phone, but the fact is I do enough professional work on my phone that I decided it was worth it, and that could be what I was doing. Okay, but sorry, you were saying.
So if you can't plan before, plan after. Do a breakdown, look at how it went and how you can do better and what you can do differently and try differently. So if you can't plan before, plan after. If you can't plan by yourself, sit down, call a friend, call an expert. We do consulting for $35 an hour.
Good.
But moving on from planning, because
The nerdy duo here in that. Yeah.
moving on from planning because, well, that's like 2/3 of everything. After that, you get into lighting and sound.
Let's
These are
talk
the
about
next-
those, and that's what I've been trying to do on my own.
Those are the things that impact the most of what you can communicate. If people can't hear you, they don't care. If people can't see you, what are you showing them?
Yeah.
Now, the best source of light you can use is the sun. Shoot near a window, shoot outside. The biggest disadvantage is the sun is always changing.
Yes, I had a couple videos. I had one video in particular where my phone was trying to be helpful, and it was automatically kind of shifting its settings as the light that was falling on me shifted, and it just had a really disjointed look. And then I had another video where I was too close to the light, and that was the one from Vassar in June. That one, it kept shifting, because first I was totally washed out, and then I realized if I lean back a little, the whole picture changes. So be steady.
Well, some of that's point 4 is be steady. We'll get there. So some of that is that cameras have auto settings. If you're dealing with the sun, switch to the most manual mode you can. Like, you can use auto to get an idea of what looks good, but switch to a manual mode you can so your camera's not sitting there changing colors and changing focus. You get that with a lot of video cameras.
Play with manual exposure, play with, manual aperture. If your camera has it, ISO and all the little things that make, the over and under exposing of your image happen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I get to use props now.
Ooh, props, yes.
Yay, props!
Now we're going to talk about things you can buy that are not expensive to improve your lighting.
Yes, and that has absolutely helped me. I've bought a few things, and I don't use them all the time. Again, my favorite lighting is just good natural lighting, though it doesn't always play ball. I do have
You're
a
a
light.
goddess and you don't know it.
There you go. I bought a ring light that I haven't really used yet.
Oh,
It's
these are
very
great.
hot.
Now,
These are just stand right in front of them.
so these are very cheap.
I
These
found
are
them
for
in my car.
These are from the dollar store. These are the cheapest reflectors you can buy. Get a friend, make them stand there. This is the cheapest source of additional light.
And
Yeah.
a lot of you actually have seen me. I have the one that's a big circle, and then I twist it up into a little circle. That one has silver on one side, white on the other side. You unzip it, and there's gold, and
That's
there's
a real
shinier
reflector,
white.
Yeah.
But
And-
even that was cheap. That was
Yeah,
so
those
you
are-
can get
cheap
this
on
for under
Amazon.
$20.
I'm going to put
Even
links on the blog
You could
post,
walk
I think.
into B&H and get
Yes.
that for under $20. So.
But
this is great.
a
This is in
dollar.
your car.
Yeah, $1.
I have
There's
this
a
in
dollar
my
store
car.
everywhere. You could buy one of these from Target wherever you are. You don't have to wait for Amazon. The next thing, I love these. These are like basically $1 too.
Dance.
Fancy, yeah, whatever. They use these on full-fledged productions when they need just a little more light because they do it. These go anywhere. They're amazing and they're
take
cheap.
almost any light bulb.
Takes a regular light
So
bulb.
what is it? What is it called?
It's
How
a
do you
clamp
get it?
lamp. You get it from
Clamp lamp.
Home Depot in the shop lighting aisle.
Nice.
They're really inexpensive. They sit in a big bucket, and like you just have to look for all the weird metal bulbs. Now,
And that's
another
very cool because you can have the reflector kind of in front of you, and you can shoot that at one of those, and it'll reflect it back to you. You don't even have to have this bright light shining right in your face, depending on how far away you can get it in your spacing, right?
And that brings up a great point. Diffusion of light, whether you're outside or inside, if you just point a light directly at somebody, it's going to be very harsh. They're going to have black shadows, and they're not going to look their greatest. But
here, parchment paper.
in the lighting bag. that you can point it at a wall or a ceiling or a reflector,
Bounce that light.
or you can wrap it or point it at some parchment paper. Especially great because it's pretty much heat-proof.
It's safe to 400 degrees.
Safe to 400 degrees. That's the stuff I bake cookies on.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And
And
you can buy it, again at the dollar store. Dollar store is a great source of film equipment, apparently.
dollar store, Home Depot,
Don't literally let like a fluorescent light bulb touch the parchment paper.
fluorescent light bulbs
like-
okay, regular light bulbs okay.
No, regular light bulbs are not
I'm
okay.
thinking halogens.
Halogens.
Where my brain is
Halogens are
going.
not okay.
Halogens are not
I think
okay.
it's halogen
LEDs are probably fine though. When you get into we're actually using LED light right now, but these are crazy SMD LED lights. Amazon too for like $75, $100.
And like once you get into buying equipment, there's a really nice, cheap Amazon community, selling things from India and China that they won't last you forever. They're not the greatest quality, but they do what they need to do, and they're that one nice step up from the DIY.
There's 3 brands you need to know about that. One of them for this umbrella because it's on yours. Fancier, FANCIER. Another one is Newer, which
I
is
love New.
what is that? NEWEER.
Yeah, it's got a double E in there somewhere, but you go on Amazon, they sell everything for cameras. They just started making lenses for Sony cameras.
Yeah,
Like, they are one of 4 people that make lenses for A6300, A7 series. There are very few brands actually making lenses for them now.
Mm-hmm.
and the other brand is Impact, which is the B&H inexpensive brand for light stands and support equipment and stuff like umbrellas. Which
And
this
so
is
that-
another diffusion.
Yes, tell us about that.
So this is a diffusion umbrella. These require a special loop on your light stand, but that's, what is it, a $2 piece you order from Amazon or
Yeah,
B&H?
it's a little brick you put in between, or you can get these as a set, and the lamps will hold them.
But yeah, that should be much softer.
So she put that in front of the light, and so now the light that's falling on me is a bit more.
Let's zoom in and show the audience. We might have to change batteries in a minute, but show the diffused light.
So there's diffusion.
Okay, now show.
Oh yeah, that's a lot harsher.
Yep.
But
And even that light is bounced, so it has some lightness to it.
So what else can people do?
after
The
that,
tools that
you should zoom back out if you have it.
I did.
Okay, great. I can't see
Yeah,
the
there's a
camera.
delay.
I'm
Yeah.
really not
There's a
used to
delay.
it. I'm so insecure.
You two are fancy broadcast.
I know, I really am. So after that, the next thing to consider is your audio. And the thing is, don't trust the microphone on your camera. Don't trust the microphone on your phone, please. That microphone, and you know this, is barely good enough for phone calls because how many times have you been on the phone and you can't hear the other person at all?
Nope.
Just
So-
mumble.
So that's going to be the sound on your video, is what your phone sounds like, because it's still going to get compressed and go over the network for live streaming. There are so many plug-in microphones. The one we're using today is a Rode shotgun microphone made for our DSLRs. It's my favorite microphone because it sounds pretty good from all kinds of distance and blocks out a lot of background noise. What is that, like $100, $200 microphone?
That mic, that's $90, $100. We bought that. That came with software, so
We
it's
bought
way
that
worth it.
for the software.
But
Really fun.
you can spend between $5 and $1 million on a microphone, but like really, you can get a little microphone for your phone, or you can spend $40, $80 on one for your camera. And once you get if you start making films or other things, getting external recorders, which aren't very expensive, that's another $100.
Depends on how into it you're getting.
Yeah.
I do videos all the time, of course, so I'm still playing with my sound equipment, but I have 3 different types of microphones, all of which were cheap. For my real camera, which I don't use for my live streams at the moment, but for my real camera, I have a wireless lavalier mic, and it works very well. I did a video shoot with a client the other day in Yonkers, in Tarrytown. We were in the middle of the street. trucks were going by, but you can hear the person who I want you to hear because we have that microphone, and that was definitely less than 100, and it fits right on top of my real camera. For the mobile usage, Wednesday, again, my quick little midweek minute, I had a plug-in clip-on lavalier mic that was crazy cheap. It was $5 or $10 on Amazon, crazy cheap, and I've used the heck out of it. It's wonderful. I have two. I have like cord extension thingies. I have a splitter so that I can plug two into my phone at the same time. So cheap, so useful, makes a huge difference. And then just recently, just last week, I started using my good microphone that I got when I was starting to think about stripping the audio from these shows into a podcast, which I still plan to do, but the audio has to be good to do that.
Yeah.
And that is the Yeti.
The
Yeti Blue. I have had it since last August. I just started using it. It's freaking amazing, and I'm going to start using it for everything.
It's like the podcaster's favorite microphone.
Yeah, and it was like maybe $100. So it wasn't.
And if you're live streaming, hooking that up to your computer is not much more than hooking your camera up, and the increase in audio quality really makes a big difference.
Yes, I can't plug it into my phone, but
if you're sitting at home and you have a cell phone and you want to be live streaming, and you're like, where should I put my first money? That is our camera dying. Hang on.
Oh.
Yay. I'm so glad. Oh, you probably can't even hear the microphone anyway.
Yeah, because the camera is,
dead.
even though the microphone's, let go tab.
Got it?
Yep. It's just a little internal tab is sticking. And back on, and thing, and...
Okay.
And we're back.
Sorry about that.
Sorry,
Yeah.
the camera battery died. Let me make sure that we are still back on.
Old can batteries.
It's thinking about it. Yes, we
Yep.
are back on.
Okay.
Hi.
Sorry
All
about
right,
that.
so if you are a person with just your cell phone and you want to live stream,
You want to be live streaming, you're like, where do I put my first little bit of money? Put it in a microphone.
Yes.
Put your first bit of money in a microphone because you've already got the camera, and your cell phone cameras, people will care less about audio that's a little blocky as long as the sound isn't terrible too. So put your first little bit of money in a microphone, read Amazon reviews, go to B&H, ask for help, get advice from people who do film. Find somebody if you're really insecure about which one to buy, but put your first bit of money in a microphone.
and we are going to be again linking to some options on a blog post after this, but you don't have to use those. Play around. There's lots of different things.
There are millions of people on YouTube that will tell you what their favorite thing is. Mm-hmm. They don't all disagree, but mostly they do.
And then the fourth thing that's really important is support. The reason we have to get up and run is because our camera's sitting on a tripod, but look how clear this is, and it's not shaky, and it's not moving. Moving a camera is really hard. I have spent hours and hours and hours doing exercises that are basically this, so I can move a camera smoother. If you don't have that time to put in, take the camera out of your own hands whenever possible. And you can cheat. Most cameras have a flat bottom. Put them on some books. Put it on a couple of books on a table away from you. Use that as your tripod for a little while.
And you can get a $20 tripod if you're not panning around, a tripod to tripod. Mm-hmm. You buy yourself a cheap selfie stick. Make sure it's the kind that has the tripod thread on the bottom of the holder. Most of them do. The cheapest ones don't, but that's a good way to get a tripod adapter for your phone very cheap. You can get them on Amazon with the cheap tripod and the cell phone thing, and, heck, a microphone and all of the things they bundle together with that.
Yeah, at this point I have, I think, 3 different tripods. I have the real tripod, which starts out like this tall, but gets much bigger, of course, because there's 4 different sections that you can make bigger. And that one I have the little handle on, so I can do cans. And that works. You can get a phone adapter that fits on it, or you can use real camera. It has kind of a universal little thing on the bottom shoe. And then I also have my little tiny tabletop one that is incredibly cheap. So cheap, and it lives in my purse. So if I'm somewhere and, I take a video with the camera, which happens, I can just plop it right on there.
Oh, yeah, on the go, camera on a little Gorilla Pod, sitting on the table. That's a great
I
setup.
wrap
So
the
light.
flexible legs of the little Gorilla Pod around the back of the chair to
Oh,
get the
I love
right.
doing that.
And it
Yeah,
fits in your purse, always
Yep.
with you, so you're always ready.
it does.
So
It's like a
there-
little pet octopus.
A million options out there for everything, but again, the 4 things you have to remember. Plan, 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 plan. Check your lighting, check your sound, and don't depend on yourself to be the tripod.
Yeah, I have also made that mistake. Now, does anyone watching us live right now have any questions for the nudie,
Oh my gosh, I hope
nerdy
not.
duo, Melissa and Erin? Nerdy duo questions, anybody? Viewer? And again, you can always reach them. They do consulting work. There's a nerdy duo. I'm going to be linking to them. And I often try to have my blog post show up pretty quickly, but I'm going to take a little longer to get this one up because I actually want to sit and sort of give you a few links to the sorts of things we're talking about. But again, it's not specific. We're saying,
I have to open up my Amazon purchase history.
yeah, exactly. I'm going to basically open up my Amazon purchase history too and just kind of throw some links on there.
No real specific brands, just ideas on, how to improve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So cheap microphones, cheap lighting. It's really about planning and steadiness and consistency.
You can see how bad this came out because we didn't plan enough with the equipment.
Woohoo!
Yeah!
But it's clear. Apparently it's very clear and beautiful. So
That's good. Look, I
always
love
good.
the 70s a lot. They're really great cameras, except, their batteries don't last that long.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And I'm hoping by the end of the year I'll be able to stream on my DSLR, but we'll see what happens with that.
Well, you could actually stream from yours using the same setup. I have to figure out why this is watermarking,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, you
Oh,
could be
wow.
basically using the same.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you very much, Nerdy Duo. Thank you very much,
Thanks
everyone
for having
watching.
us.
I, again, am Christine Gritmon of Christine Gritmon Inc. Social Media here in Nyack. And I do this every Friday at noon, social. I talk to somebody about how to up your social media game. So, see you next week. Bye. Someone's got to turn off the camera.
Yay!
Manual labor.
Oh, see, that's what it looks like in here with no lights. That'll be good
nice.
for the end.
Yeah. Behind the scenes.